I'll just share the screen with you all. We'll quickly start with Mangalacharan and then we'll go up to the shloka. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Gyananjanashalakhaya Chakshuram Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Śrī Caitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Śrīyutapadakkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamvatamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So welcome for today morning's Bhagavatam class, and thank you so much for logging in and being present for the Bhagavatam classes. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We can serve the Bhagavatam by hearing the Bhagavatam also. So, and thank you so much for your valuable time. That shows that so much interest you all have in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And the Bhagavatam is Rasamalyam. It's a storehouse of rasas, or it is a storehouse of mellows. And that is why you all gather on a daily basis to hear the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So coming up to the shloka, we'll just quickly read the shloka. So this is Kapil Muni actually talking to his mother Devahuti. And in this particular chapter, he's talking about, pure devotional service that is there. And he's talking to Mother Devahuti about, in these subsequent shlokas, he's talking about the fear factor that the demigods have. So he says that, Yad vanaspatayo bhita latascha shuddhadhibhitah Sve sve kale abhigrinanti pushpani cha phalani cha. Translation: out of fear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trees, creepers, herbs, and seasonal plants and flowers blossom and fructify each of its own season. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Mataji, do you want them to read? Prashanti Mataji has raised.
Sure. I'm absolutely fine. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, yeah. Prashanti Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. As the sun rises and sets and the seasonal changes ensue at their appointed times by the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so the seasonal plants, flowers, herbs, and trees all grow under the direction of the Supreme Lord. It is not that plants grow automatically without any cause, as the atheistic philosophers say. Rather, they grow in pursuance of the supreme order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is confirmed in the Vedic literature that the Lord's diverse energies are working so nicely that it appears that everything is being done automatically. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for that reading. So, over here, he's saying that, Srila Prabhupada is saying over here that the sun rises and sets and the seasonal changes ensure that, so, automatically the sun is rising. You don't have to tell the sun that, okay, now you rise. No, everything is going by the superintendence of the Supreme Lord. Everything is going automatically. And still, the atheist philosophers, they say that, no, it's not that the plants grow automatically, which means that they do not have so much of faith in the Supreme Lord. Their faith is not, very strong enough. In fact, their faith is in fact, they don't even have faith, to be very honest, that that they can be a supreme controller, they can be a supreme proprietor and enjoyer. And we see even in the scriptures that everything is working very automatically. All these, universes, how they are floating in the sky, though every universe has so many big, big mountains and oceans and seas and trees and so many. How can, something which is so heavy can float? There's only Krishna's creation. It can happen only in Krishna's creation and nobody else's creation. So, he's describing about over here in this particular shloka, he's describing about how these seasons or these flowers, they grow or they change out of the fear of the Supreme Lord. Let's go to the next, because in the subsequent shlokas he's going to speak only about fear. Okay, and in the end, I will just brief something about fear. Shravanti sarito bhita notsarpati udadiriyatah agnir indhe sagiri bhi bhurna majjat yad bhayat. Translation: out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the rivers flow and the oceans never overflows. Out of fear of him only does fire burn, and does the earth with its mountains not sink in the water of the universe. Somebody could read the purport.
Yeah, Mataji. Bhanu Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. We can understand from the Vedic literature that this universe is half filled with water.
Mataji, one minute.
Yes.
So, if you see in the Bhagavatam or in any class, what we do is, before we read the purport, we express our gratitude towards Srila Prabhupada. So, before anybody reads the purport, it is a small samskara that what we do is, when we say purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It takes maybe just 10 seconds to say this. But then we are gratitude.
I forget today. Every time I speak.
Yeah, no problem, Mataji. It's just a small.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We can understand from the Vedic literature that this universe is half filled with water, on which Garbhodakshai Vishnu is lying. From his abdomen, a lotus flower has grown, and within the stem of the lotus flower, all the different planets exist. The material scientist explains that all these different planets are floating because of the law of gravity or some other law. But the actual lawmaker is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we speak of law, we must understand that there must be a lawmaker. The material scientists can discover laws of nature, but they are unable to recognize the lawmaker. From Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad-gītā, we can know who the lawmaker is. The lawmaker is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said here that the planets do not sink, since they are floating under the order or energy of Supreme Godhead. They do not fall down into the water, which covers half the universe. All the planets are heavy with their various mountains, seas, oceans, cities, palaces, and buildings, and yet they are floating. It is understood from this passage that all the other planets that are floating in the air have oceans and mountains and similar to those on this planet. Hare Krishna.
Maharaji, thank you for that reading. So over here he is saying that these rivers never, the rivers flow and the oceans never overflow. For example, if the ocean starts overflowing, everything will be, submerged, underwater. And out of fear only, of him only, does fire burn. And does the earth with its mountains not sink in the water of the universe? If you see Srila Prabhupada's purport, very nice there. Like, in the first line, if you see, he will actually speak about the first, this. And in the second line, third, fourth line, he'll speak about the second line. Or if he has some 4 paragraphs, one line he'll take and he'll start explaining. So, even if you see that these mountains also, they're so heavy. So, of course, within that particular earth, there is a mountain. And that earth planet that is there, it does not sink in the water, being so heavy also. And even all these, living entities also, they also are under the subjugation of a lawmaker. So if there is a law, then there's a lawmaker also. If you see in our daily lives also, that the society that we stay in has a law. Okay, the temple that we go in has a law. The school that we go in has a law. The office that we go in has a law. Or the college that we go in has a law. Even the roads that we move on, they have a law. So if there is a law, then there is a lawmaker also. But the scientists, they don't think that there can be somebody supreme. They do not see. If you see, Prabhupada is again and again talking about the materialist scientists, because scientists with their little teeny meeny brain, they cannot understand the vastness of the Supreme Lord, and that is why they have failed in their many attempts to prove the science of God. They cannot prove only because they don't believe only in the existence of the Supreme Lord. They do not believe only that there is some supreme person who is orchestrating everything, and who is under whose direction everything is working so very nicely and properly, and very, for example, today if the sun stops rising, what's going to happen to the whole world? Or the sun says, okay, let me just go and have a stroll and come in some other place, the whole earth planet would be devastated out of, like, no sun at all. Or if the moon says that, okay, I'm just, I'll just stop giving my, coolness. So the scorching heat of the sun is going to burn up the living entities. So that is why, if you see that how Krishna has put everything very perfectly in its place, how the seasons change, how the sun rises, how the moon rises, how the sun sets and the moon, rises, or how the seasons take place, and why only after summer you have rainy season, and why after rainy season only you have winter season, and why not topsy-turvy or the other way around. These, things, if we, carefully notice, even in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna says that wherever you look around, you can feel my presence. Because I am in every atom and I am in every molecule. You're drinking water, you can think about me. And you're looking at the mountains, you can think about me. So everywhere we look around with these eyes is an opportunity for us to appreciate the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or even in some person, if we are seeing some talent, oh, this, because Krishna says, I am the ability in a man. So if somebody is very good at art and craft, somebody is very good at dancing, somebody is very good at, playing the mridanga. So that ability is coming from Krishna. And when we appreciate that particular uh, the quality or that particular skill of that particular person or quality of that person, then Krishna who's sitting inside us also actually sees that, oh, this person is appreciating, the ability of that particular person. And that ability is coming. So indirectly, when I am appreciating a particular devotee, I am appreciating Krishna only, because that ability in that particular person is coming from Krishna himself only. Let's go to the next shloka. So he continues. Okay. 43rd shloka. Namo dadhati swasatam padam yanniyamad adaha lokam swadeham tanute mahan saptabhiravrutam. He says, subject to the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sky allows outer space to accommodate all the various planets which hold innumerable living entities. The total universal body expands with its 7 coverings under his supreme control. Now, somebody read the purport.
Sarika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is understood from this verse that all the planets in outer space are floating and they all hold living entities. The word swasatam means those who breathe or the living entities. In order to accommodate them, there are innumerable planets. Every planet is a residence for innumerable living entities, and the necessary space is provided in the sky by the supreme order of the Lord. It is also stated here that the total universal body is increasing. It is covered by 7 layers, and as there are 5 elements within this universe, so the total elements in layers cover the outside of the universal body. The first layer is of earth, and it is 10 times greater in size than the space within the universe. The second layer is water, and that is 10 times greater than the earthly layer. And the third covering is fire, which is 10 times greater than the water covering. In this way, each layer is 10 times greater than the previous one. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much. So when he's saying about this layers of earth, you all must have studied this in the 2nd canto in very great detail. Shukdev Goswami has given, the layers of these earth and how, every layer is 10 times greater than the other layer. I wouldn't touch upon that aspect, but maybe, I would like to, say on this aspect that when these living entities that are there, because he says there are innumerable living entities, and how the Supreme Lord is accommodating these living entities in different planets. So you have a living entity, you have living entities even on the sun, you have living entities even on the moon, you have living entities even on Mars and Jupiter and Earth, and everywhere you have living entities. Above the earth also you have the heavenly planets, Janalok, Tapalok, Maharlok, Brahmalok, all these planets you have. When these living entities, and how Krishna is maintaining every living entity throughout throughout this universe, in all different planets, everybody has different tastes, temperaments, tastes, and the atmosphere is different, the season is different, the body is different. How Krishna is maintaining this total universe as such, and within that, then Krishna is saying that these universes have, these coverings, which all these are under the control of the Supreme Lord. Now we can just imagine that to run one house of mind is, it's such a challenging, task for me also, running the house. Go to the grocery shop, go to the, go to the vegetable market, and, something is not proper, then you mend it, and then, there are guests coming, and so many different things as a grihastha we have, and it is so difficult for us. Imagine Krishna is maintaining zillions and zillions and zillions of living entities, and that too very effortless. He doesn't have to take effort. Oh, he's not working hard, or he's not toiling hard. Oh, I have to maintain these living entities. No, he's sitting in his Golok Vrindavan, and he's enjoying over there. And here, all the living entities are taken care. This is actually his, you can say multitasking of Krishna. That how effortlessly he's doing, all these, how he's maintaining the universe also, and how he's, enjoying also in his Golok Vrindavan Dham. So this we can appreciate in the pages of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So then he's saying that गुणाभिमानिनो देवा सर्गादिश्वस्य यात भयात् वर्तन्ते अनुयुगं येषां वसा एतच्चराचरम्. He says, out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the directing demigods in charge of the modes of material nature carry out the functions of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Everything animate and inanimate within this material world is under their control. Somebody read the purport.
Hare Krishna. Sudha Mataji, you can read the purport.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, are under the control of three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu is in charge of the mode of goodness. Lord Brahma is in charge of the mode of passion. And Lord Shiva is in charge of the mode of ignorance. Similarly, there are many other demigods in charge of the air department, the water department, the cloud department, etc. Just as a government has many different departments, so within this material world, the government of the Supreme Lord has many departments, and all these departments function in proper order out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Demigods are undoubtedly controlling all matter, animate and inanimate, within the universe, but above them, the Supreme Controller is the Personality of Godhead. Therefore, in the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Ishvara Parama Kṛṣṇa. Undoubtedly, there are many controllers in the departmental management of this universe, but the supreme controller is Kṛṣṇa. There are two kinds of dissolutions. One kind of dissolution takes place when Brahma goes to sleep during his night, and the final dissolution takes place when Brahma dies. As long as Brahma does not die, creation, maintenance, and destruction are actuated by different demigods under the superintendence of the Supreme Lord. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for that. So he's talking about all the three Adishta Devatas of creation, maintenance, and destruction. So we know creation is done by Brahma, maintenance done by Lord Vishnu, and destruction by Lord Shiva. So even these demigods that are there, okay, and who's directing the demigods? Krishna is directing the demigods. And these demigods, who are even above the humans, they also are fearing. See, they're saying, out of fear of the Supreme Personality of God, the directing demigods in charge of mode carry out their functions. So out of fear, they are carrying out this function of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Now, somebody might question that why Lord Vishnu has to fear. Vishnu has come from, Krishna only. So why Lord Vishnu also has to fear? So if you see, the Lord Vishnu, no, is one of the expansions of Krishna. So not in toto, he has those 64 qualities what the Supreme Lord Krishna possesses, but he has 60 qualities. But now, again, within those expansions also, these qualities may vary. Okay, like for example, Lord Shiva has like 55 qualities. Okay, we human beings have 26 qualities, and not incomplete, not even in 100% we have those qualities. If somebody might have one quality, he might not have the other, or he might have in less percentage. But when we say that Krishna has all these 6 opulences or 64 qualities in 100 percentage, so then what happens is that even if Krishna's wealth is taken away, somebody takes away all the wealth that Krishna has, still he will have 100% wealth. His wealth will not decrease. But today, if somebody takes away all my wealth, I will become a pauper and I'll be on road. Or if somebody, of course, these demigods and we all are subjected to death, old age, birth, and diseases, right? So when I become old, then I won't have those qualities. Maybe I was a wrestler in my young age, but when I grow old, that quality is not there at all when I am old, right? But with Krishna, it's not like that. With Krishna, it's like even on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Krishna was 125 years old, he looked as if he's ever youthful. He looked like a 16-year-old boy, young boy. So with me or the demigods or the other living entities, what will happen is birth, death, old age, and diseases will be there. I might look young, at once upon a time, but I will, look old, after a few years. But with Krishna, it's not there. With Krishna, everything is consistent. Everything, like as such, his qualities are consistent. In fact, they say that his qualities keep on increasing every minute. Ananta Shesh, with his thousands herds, he is glorifying the Supreme Lord, and yet every minute Krishna's qualities are increasing. And this is the beauty about the Supreme Lord, that he's unmatchable. Nobody can match the qualities of the Supreme Lord as such. Okay, so we just go to the next shloka.
Mataji, they can read the shloka and translation as well. Will it be okay?
Yeah, maybe they can read the last.
Yeah, because 3 person are there, so they can read.
Sure.
Yeah, Subha Mataji, you can call out the names.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Karpagavalli Mataji, you can read the shloka. Divya Gopu Mataji, you can read the translation. Sindhu Mataji, you can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Mataji, Mataji. So nanto Saraha talo Nadi Adi Krit Abhyaha Jnanam Jnanina Jnanayan Maryan Nit Antantakam. Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Pranam. Translation by Śrī Prabhupada ki Jai. The eternal time factor has no beginning and no end. It is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the maker of the criminal world. It brings about the end of the phenomenal world. It carries on the work of creation by bringing one individual into existence from another. And likewise, it dissolves the universe by destroying even the Lord of Death, Yamaraja. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranams. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. By the influence of eternal time, which is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Father begets a son, and the Father dies by the influence of cruel death. But time's influence, even the Lord of cruel death is killed. In other words, all the demigods within the material world are temporary like ourselves. Our lives last for 100 years at the most, and similarly, although their lives may last for millions and billions of years, the demigods are not eternal. No one can live within this material world eternally. The phenomenal world is created, maintained, and destroyed by the figure signal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, a devotee does not desire anything in this material world. A devotee desires only to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This servitude exists eternally. The Lord exists eternally. The servitor exists eternally. And the service exists eternally. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the third canto, 29th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Explanation of the Devotional Service by Lord Kafila. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji, for that. So if you see in these texts, there was one common factor that was there. So there is this fear factor. They say that all the demigods out of fear, or these mountains and seasons, and out of fear they are, running their functions, whatever. So everyone in this world is actually fearful of something or the other. Every human being, be it children who are fearful of their parents, or parents who are fearful that children will get spoiled, or even the psychologists, they have different kinds of fears, and some fears are unheard and some fears are very much abstract. But the effect of fear on various levels within our system, maybe like on the physical, could be physical effects or social effects or emotional effects, because fear is something very unpleasant, and it causes pain also, because on physical level, if you see that somebody who is influenced by fear, there are many physical changes going on. Maybe his heart rate increases, or his palpitations increase, starts perspiring, his blood pressure goes up, or different body parts are affected negatively, or some diseases will start manifesting. On a social level, somebody might just think that okay, my family relationships might be distorted, or if a child is afraid of the father, then the child starts hating the father. Or in a social relationship, if somebody is fearing his friend, and he starts hating his friend. Or within the society also, somebody has this fear of maintaining his status, so he starts lying in his work culture, or he starts lying to different people. So even on the work front also, somebody might be really fearful of work pressure. And then sometimes he might he might say that it's too much pressure, I don't want to work, or I might just take a break. So these are some social effects will hamper that particular person's mind. And even at the emotional level also, there are emotional effects also of fear. So like some very dangerous thoughts might come, and they might trickle, and then this mind becomes corrupt. And when these thoughts keep on hovering, then it creates a very vicious circle in the mind, and ultimately all the other thoughts also are a drain into it. Say for example, somebody has said something to somebody, okay, two people out of that, A said something to B. Now with B, what will happen is that why did he say this? And his whole productivity is lost in just thinking that why did this A say something to me? And that's how this whole thought process that is there, it's completely drained into, instead of doing something productive, this person actually does something, either he goes into stagnation or he goes into depression. So there are many causes in the Bhagavatam. If you see, just give me 1 minute, I'll just show you all that particular shloka. Very nice shloka it is. .2 is it 37 or 47? Here, yeah, 37. So he says that Bhayam dvitiya abhinivesh satsayad yad dishat-patte sa viparayo smriti tanmaya to buddha abhajed tam bhaktesh yakyed gurudevat atmaha. He says fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusionary energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as the servant of the Lord. This is what we are connecting with the last shloka. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency of illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master whom he should accept as his worshipful deity and as his very life and soul. So, fear is arising because of this misidentification. We misidentify ourselves, and that's how, there is fear. So, in this particular shloka, if you see, there are, some pathological causes also. Pathological cause means he is thinking that this fear is arising, uh, because of his misidentification with the material body, and he's too much absorbed in Maya. And that's how, when he is too much absorbed in Maya, at that point of time, the illusion, the energy captures him. So that is why he becomes very fearful, and he loses his intelligence also when he becomes very fearful. But on the other side, if you see that if any intelligent person, if he engages in the service of the Supreme Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, then definitely he does not identify himself with this material body. He will not be affected by Maya so much. So there is this pathological cause also, there is this symptomatic cause also, like there's a gap created between some expectation and a reality. It causes fear. So for example, there is a girl and a boy, so the girl is expecting that when I go to this boy's house, of course, even in between devotees also, the girl thinks, oh, he's a nice devotee, we'll go to Mangala Arati together and we'll come back together, we'll attend Bhagavatam, and then we'll do deity worship together. And also, this is the expectation of a girl who wants to get married to a devotee boy. But all of a sudden, when she reaches that particular house, she sees that, these people don't wake up for Mangala Arati at all. They don't, attend Bhagavatam classes at all. So she had expectation before marriage that, okay, my husband is an initiated devotee. I'm not initiated. I will be able to, uplift myself, in the association of, but the husband does not, there might be some, really XYZ reasons, because husband might be having a sleep problem, or he comes late from work, and that is why not able to, but her expectations versus her reality now is causing fear. Now what will happen? I got married to this boy because, I thought he's a devotee and we'll go to Mangala Aarti together and come back together. So in the Niti Shastra, if you see, there are 9 types of fears. He says that bhoge rogyabhyam kule chuti bhayam vitte nripala bhayam mane dainya bhayam bale bale rirubhyam rupe jarabhyam शास्त्रे वादिभ्यम गुणे कालाभ्यम काले कृतानादाभ्यम श्रवणम वास्तु भयम द्वितीया भोई नृणाम वैराग्यमे भयम. So he says that bhoge roga bhayam. So first bhay is of roga. Rog means what? There is this fear of diseases. What will I if I fall ill, or what will I if I've had a heart attack. So this fear of diseases always exists in these people, and one might be very much wealthy, might be very powerful, but many deadly diseases are all the time hovering over his head, to smash all his plans to pieces. Then he's saying that bhoge roga bhayam kule chuti bhayam. So he's saying that family insecurities. Kul means family. Family insecurities are there. Okay, what if I lose this person? What if I lose that person? What if this relation does not work? What if, I don't bear a child? So, finding some good partners and some, wealthy people whom, you have some financial security also. So you start finding such people. Then it's saying bhoge roga bhayam kule chuti bhayam vitte vitte nripala bhayam. So when we say that nrip means one who is a king, like, so one who has a good amount of wealth or immense wealth, he's also very fearful. If you see the wealthiest people in the world, why do they have these bodyguards, around them? They have so much of great fear. Sometimes they have fear even in spending money. They don't spend too easily as such. So then, uh, these people, they have so many policies and so many other things. What if this will happen? They keep on planning, and on a daily basis, if you see that they don't live in the present tense. Either they are living in the past, or either they are living in the future. What will happen now? What will happen now? And then he's saying that Mane Dainya Bhayam. Mane Dainya Bhayam means that man and apaman, hai na? Deen and, so example, somebody has this fear of being dishonored. What if this person insults? What if this person, does not give me that honor? So, sometimes, even in the previous times, for one who's honored, and then later on who's dishonored, it is even worse than death. So in the Mahabharata, Jayadratha wasn't killed, but he was punished by this humiliation because he had kidnapped Draupadi. So Mane Dainya Bhanam. And then he's saying that Mane Dainya Balam Bale Ripu Bhayam. So a very powerful person, what he has fear of, he has this fear of being Ripu. He's been fear of being defeated by someone who's more bal, who has more power as such. And then he's saying Mane Dainya Bale Rupe Jara Bhayam. Somebody who is very beautiful, he's very fearful of losing his own beauty, at old age. That is why you see people in this age, they have this Botox and facelift and hair transplantations and skin transplantation and so many transplantations they have. So then they have Vittendra Bhayam, Mana, Bale, Rupe, Shastre. Somebody has this bhai of, because see, an intelligent person, he is fearful of that someone will come up with some more brilliant idea than me in the office. So, or he might be more powerful than me in the Shastras, or quoting the Shastras, or quoting the Shastra left, right, and center. That also fear, somebody might have. Then somebody might have the fear of even gunas. Gunas means what? That guna kalabhya. Guna kalabhya means what? That this person, he is expressing some opinions and ideas which they themselves actually do not believe in that fearful meeting of someone. But that other person has a very great conviction and faith in certain philosophy. So this person might feel, hey, he has so much faith in philosophy. I don't have that faith. So this person feels very fearful. And then somebody has the fear of last. Shastre, Gune. Kaya Kritanabhya. Kaya means somebody has, or everybody has this fear of leaving this body at the moment of death. So we have fear of death also. That what if this medicine does not work? What if this operation does not become successful? What if I die? So so many of these, fearful diseases that we have, and these diseases are eating up away our time and our consciousness to go towards Krishna. But the devotee of the Supreme Lord is Abhay. Why is Abhay? Because his real medicine for that real disease in his heart is actually chanting the holy names of Krishna. Because we living entities who are entangled in this cycle of birth and death, and immediately when we start chanting the holy names of the Lord, even unconsciously, so all these fear personified, also people will just run away, and we will be released by the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And definitely we know that the chanting of the holy names is going to give us a great transformation. It is going to help us to free ourselves from this fear of birth, death, old age and diseases. And even if somebody is addicted to intoxication or meat eating or gambling, still he should chant. Why? Because as soon as he chants, all these vices or all these problems will run away, because uh, uh, because Krishna is the fear personified. मतलब भय के भी स्वामी है वो, and that is why these people will flee away or run away, being afraid of the holy name, or being afraid. But because see, right from the starting of the class, all these fears we have been talking about, who all are fearful. But when we take the shelter of the holy name, we will no longer be fearful. Secondly, chanting of the holy name is there, then hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives us so much of confidence, because when we give that oral reception to the scriptures, then there is this feeling for loving devotional service to Krishna will, immediately, arise. And three things happen when, somebody is hearing the Bhagavatam. It says in the Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter, and I think 7th shloka only. Ki, Yasya Vaishunamayanam Krishna Param Purshe Bhaktir Utpadate Pumsa Shokamoha Bhayapaha. So, anybody who is, reading the Bhagavatam or hearing the Bhagavatam, three things will happen. It will extinguish lamentation, it will extinguish illusion, and it will extinguish fearfulness. And one's thoughts will create his words, and words will create his actions, and actions will create his habits, and habits create a culture. So Prabhupada is saying that, in that purport, he is saying that the modern society, they have to learn to live like human beings. If we do not learn to live like human beings, then even animals, do these four things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So animals are also expert in these four activities. So then what is the difference between us and the animals? And then this particular shloka, the 11th canto shloka, is saying that you can meditate also. So when you meditate on the Supreme Lord, it is freeing us from all kinds of fear, including the last fear that we saw was the fear of death, by meditating on the beautiful form of the Supreme Lord. Now, even in the present times, during the COVID times, we have seen so many devotees. They have passed away so swiftly, and they did not have the fear of death while passing away, because they actually welcomed death also as Krishna only. And you see, there are so many beautiful deities in the temple, and you can meditate, and we can, become free from these different kinds of fears that are there. Because in the temple, when you have these deities, you have the beautiful form of deity, you're addressing them, you're offering the food, you're offering bhoga to them, then you're taking them as prasad. So if uh, if we do not have that right mood of meditating on the Supreme Lord, or surrendering ourselves to the Supreme Lord, then exactly we will always, remain in that misery only. And if we do not have that right mood, then devotional service will always be a mystery to us. So that is why meditation on the beautiful form of the Supreme Lord. See, there are many kinds of meditation. Okay, I will meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. I can meditate on the whole form of the Lord. I can meditate on book distribution. I can meditate on, bhoga offering. What will I cook today? I will meditate on what kind of dress will I make the deities wear today, or what kind of pagadi will be there. I can meditate on many other things, but which is related to Krishna. And then Vaishnav Seva, service to the devotees. So when we are worshipping the great devotees, who are on the very auspicious path of Krishna consciousness, then they are giving us that benediction. They are, giving us that ashirvad, that yes, you be with all those divine qualities. You be free from that fear. And that's how these four things are so very potent. Chanting, hearing Bhagavatam, or meditating on the form of the Lord, or Vaishnav Seva, serving the devotee, they're so potent. So sometimes somebody might ask, that, how can I, apply these things? How can I chant? How can I serve the devotees? How can I, come out from my negative thoughts? How can I serve the devotees? So sometimes what we have to do is, the first thing we have to do is, because see, there are some practical ways to apply these solutions also. If somebody has fear of those 9 fears that you have, then you have some practical, application also. Like, so, for example, somebody is not able to, chant properly, but he can change himself. It is not possible to change the whole world or people around me, but I can change my own self. Like, for example, if a ship is caught in some storm, it can't change the force of that wind, but I can just readjust my steering, If, the flow is from this side, I can, actually go in the other direction. Then somebody might have, this of association, when we say associating with devotees and serving great devotees. So uh, why to serve the devotees, or why to have these association duties? Because when we are in association of these saintly people, they have overcome this fear, and they will help us to overcome this fear. Because when we take shelter of His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvinda, Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada, and we've become a part of this mission. So definitely we'll be feared from fear. Prabhupada had so many, challenges, but he was completely cool, calm, and composed. So that is why it is said in the Bhagavatam that this association of devotees only will help us cross this vast ocean of turbulence that is there. We are in the whirlpool, of so many things, and actually only this association will pull us out from that particular whirlpool. And then you could streamline your thoughts also. Streamline mean what? That one may sometimes decide to change also, and he may associate also with the devotees, but still one may have to associate with different kinds of people in the outside world. So there might be some unpleasant experiences also with them, but one has to streamline your thoughts, which means what? That okay, I'm going to my office and there are, so many, unpleasant people I meet and unpleasant experiences I have. But my goal will be, like the horse has his blinkers, he's focused. My goal is to please Krishna. My goal is to please Krishna. And then whatever comes, it is like secondary. It does not matter to me that who is telling me what. And then when we serve Krishna in that way, because the more one tries to serve Krishna and his devotees, the more he becomes selfless. And the more he becomes freed from this fear of possessiveness. Like you see this incense stick. What does the incense stick do? The incense stick, it burns itself to give fragrance to the others. And that is why uh, the devotees use their life in the service of the Supreme Lord, so that even others can experience that fragrance of Krishna consciousness. And that is why we distribute books, right? We take so much of challenges and we distribute books. And while you are serving in that way, then your mind is completely engaged, because this mind is very flickering by nature, and it needs some positive activity. If it does not have positive activity, it will have some negative activity. That is why the mind is compared like this FM channel of this radio. So this FM means what? F means flickering and M means mind. So this channel keeps changing, different vibrations from our surroundings. That is why if this mind is engaged in these positive activities, then it will not have any distractions from outside. Plus, we can also set targets, which means what? That, we have smart goals. We could have timers also. Like, I generally keep a timer for myself. This particular activity in this, previously, I was a little very slow in many activities. So I started putting a timer for myself. So example, I want to do DT worship on a daily basis. Okay. Because I have some Shaligram, Shilas, and I have Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. So previously it used to take me 2 hours, which used to actually overwhelm me. Then I thought that no, let me put a timer for myself and do some pre-preparation. So then that's how I set some realistic goals for myself also. That okay, on a daily basis, only half an hour. From 2 hours, I came down to half an hour of doing DT worship. Sometimes, if on a festival is there, then I'll take a little more longer time if I want to decorate the pagadi of the Supreme Lord or my DTs, properly in a nice fashion, then I'll spend some 1 hour of time. Otherwise, on a daily basis, half an hour, 45 minutes maximum over. And then when you set some targets to yourself, like we as practicing devotees, we can set some targets. On a daily basis, I will memorize one shloka. On a daily basis, I will do this, which is self-satisfying also, which is achievable. And then you can reward yourself also. Oh, wow, I learned one shloka today. Very nice. And that same shloka, what you've learned, you go and tell it to 3 other people. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So if you go around telling 3 people or 4 people or 5 people, it's there into your memory brain. Now, whenever, the right time comes, that shloka will pop out from your, mind or from your memory chip as such. And that is why when you have these targets, you'll be very peaceful. So there is a Chinese proverb, it says that if you are patient in one moment of anger, you will escape 100 days of sorrow. So let's be patient, let's be peaceful, let's not, get into arguments and, so many, arguments, people keep on hovering. In fact, I know some people who will keep on creeping around those things which has happened 50 years ago. And you can't do anything about them. So why unnecessary, have those sorrows, uninvited sorrows, which are really not required in a life. And then we should have reasonable expectation from ourselves also and from others also. Just give me a minute. We could have, because see, when you have some unrealistic expectation, as I told, that, oh, me and my husband will go to Mangala Aarti when I get married. It is going to lead you to frustration only and anger only. It's not going to lead to anything else. But, not all expectation will be met, no. Only some expectation would be met. So that is why we should have some reasonable expectation where, we safeguard ourselves also, and that anartha called anger does not even pop out from our hearts. Also, see, when we are straightforward with our dealings, then also we will never have fear. Somebody who's trying to manipulate, who's a hypocrite, or who's trying to speak too much of lies and all, this person also will always be in fear, because there is no proper coordination of body, mind, and words. And that is why, if somebody is very straightforward, don't have those wrong expectations. Okay, I will do this for you. And then, if so like for example, like, when I was into this IT company, we used to have clients and all, and the client is saying, 2 months, will it be done? So just to, be very, be very, buttering to that client, some people used to say, in 2 months we'll give. But I used to say, no, this is a 4-month job, and before 4 months, we will not be able to give. So that is called straightforwardness, not to set wrong expectations with anybody, not to lie, not to be a hypocrite that on face you or something you said yes, and on behind you keep on delaying. If, for example, if the project was for 4 months, and we say for 4 months, but if we deliver in 3 months or 3.5 months, still it's a bonus for us. But when you say 2 months and you don't deliver it even after 3 months, then that will be a disaster as such. So to the extent I am straightforward, I can experience peace and freedom from this fear. And when does this come? When you have a good, sense control also, because sense control is so important, because two things go ill together. One is sense gratification and Krishna consciousness. They both go ill together, because, cold water and ghee, it will, like, it's not a good combination. It's like an explosive combination. Or even if that, like in the Bhagavad-gītā, it says, even if the one of the senses is not controlled, it can, give a complete failure to that human person. Like the example of the ship is given. One small leak in the ship can, uh, submerge the whole ship or sink the whole ship in water. So that is why, what I have done is, um I have made an acronym actually out of this, to this particular solution. So if somebody wants to get out of that fear, because what all these, we spoke about the practical, uh, uh, ways to apply solutions for fear. So it is C means change, A means association, S means streamline, S is service, E is engage, T is give yourself target, P is peace, and R and E have combined together. R and E is reasonable expectation, and S is straightforward dealing with, sense control. Because see, when sometimes it's a real fear also, it is unreal also, because fear is accelerating my imagination, it is and blurring my perception of what is real and what isn't. So when I'm being swept away by this, power of fear, it is very difficult to immediately activate this intelligence to evaluate whether my fear is arising from reality or I'm just imagining fear. Because we sometimes we imagine that, oh, if I do this, what will happen? What will happen? What will happen? And what will happen? Nothing happens actually. So in Hindi, is a khoda paad nikla chua. So it might not be also, nothing might harm you also. So then at such times, what we do is that we focus on connecting with that person who is really true, and he is Krishna, by, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, by doing deity worship, and then by doing these activities, by serving the Vaishnavas, we can activate that intelligence, and then it will help us to differentiate between what is a real fear and what is unreal fear, and then to know when a fear is real. And that is why what we try to do is we will focus only on Krishna, and he'll help us from within, that, oh, this is not real fear, you just, passing phase, it's just a passing phase. So that is why some people, they run away from this, fear, like as if, this fear is like a bully. and they keep on running away. But this will only increase that fear's power to overpower us. So that is why, and then that fear becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and it will gradually devour us. So we shouldn't run away from our fears, but what we should do is that we should align with the when we align with the shastras or the words of the Supreme Lord or the words of the bona fide spiritual master, then actually these fears will actually run away. Because see, many people have fear also and anxiety also. Now somebody might ask, what is fear and what is anxiety? The both are actually the difference is that anxiety is on more general level, everybody's anxiety, and it is, anxiety is more to do with your mind, and fear is very specific. And this fear is, you can say that somebody else's reaction or some external stimuli may cause some emotion of fear within us or anxiety within us. So when we say technically, anxiety and fear is important, but to understand that fear itself cannot, and it cannot be eradicated completely. Now see, fear in the spiritual world and fear in the material world. Okay. So there is fear in the spiritual world also. There is fear in the material world also. What is the difference between the fear in the spiritual? Fear in the spiritual world takes us close to Krishna. Fear in the material world takes us away from Krishna. Fear in the spiritual world upgrades us. Fear in the material world will degrade us. And fear, who does not have fear? Even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in the Damodar Leela, he also was fearful of his mother. But what is the difference between the Lord and us? When the Lord fears, it becomes a pastime, and it, enhances the beauty of that particular pastime. And by hearing that pastime, I am purified. But in the material world, when somebody is fearful, he creates a havoc. He creates a havoc in the society, and the others are troubled by that particular havoc that has been created. There are wars, and there are murders, and there are rapes, and there are, robberies out of fear. This is devastating everybody. But in the spiritual world, when the Supreme Lord of Fear is a beautiful pastime, and by that beautiful pastime, I am being uplifted in my consciousness, and my relationship with Krishna increases more and more. My faith increases, my love for Krishna increases. But in the material world, if a particular pastime out of fear has to happen, it's only going to degrade me and going to put me into, stress and anxiety. So this is, and see, even Mother Yashoda is also in anxiety. Okay. So she is also in this anxiety. What will happen now to my Lalla? And what will I feed him? And now he will come in the evening. But all these anxieties and fears in the spiritual world are just to make us, more attracted towards Krishna. We become more and more attracted towards Krishna when we have when we see the fear of the Supreme Lord. But over here, the fear of any human being you hear, or any, animals also have fear over here. But it's not going to, do any good to us. So sometimes, uh, you know, even our faith is challenged with fear. Like, so when we have faith that, okay, there is a higher reality in our lives, then whatever events are going on in our life, whatever is happening, within us, that faith may not be necessarily immediately to remove that fear caused by that inner or outer, instances. And even though the fear may remain, but faith gives me a means to drive away from that fear. So both are, there, and in both the cases, if I see, like, okay, so I cannot remove that danger. If there is a danger, I cannot remove that particular danger, but I can move away from that danger. And then if I move away from that danger, I will have less fear. So for example, some children are going on trekking, okay. And, one of the child is very fearful. Oh, no, 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 I've never done this. I will fall down and there is a big valley and all like. But if that child does not go only, to that particular trekking, so his fear will decrease. He'll not have that particular. So the role of faith in dealing with fear is that if faith does not drive away fear, then it will enable us to drive away from that particular fear. And that is why so much of faith, when we invest uh, in Krishna, then we will not have that much fear also. And some practical, when some children are very much fearful during examinations or during this, so we ask them, do deep breathing. It will, help you, because there is not enough oxygen reaching the, what do you say, brains. That is why it said that, you do some deep breathing exercises. Of course, deep breathing may not really remove my fear out, but it will remove that power of my fear to fuel that imagination. So whenever, I have some fear attack, it will fuel my imagination and make my thoughts go to some worst of the cases or worst of the scenarios also. But the simplest way is that I shift my, attention to deep breathing. And then as we, slow our, breath and focus on that particular attention and, slowing on our breath, then it will no longer, give us that fear. And then we know how to control that fear and it keeps on decreasing. But many a times, people cannot deal with fear, and that is why they land up in suicidal cases and all that, other cases of rape and, doing harm to others. But this fear, if it is channelized properly, then that fear will uplift us. So, for example, I have a fear. What if I don't chant 16 rounds tomorrow? What if I don't read? What if I don't do this service? I will not go close to Krishna. That is a healthy fear. So we should know what are healthy fears and what are not healthy fears, and fear is necessary. Prabhupada also used to say that my biggest complaint to my disciples, they're not fearful enough of Maya. They are fearful enough of death. Every person has to be, that's a healthy fear. That during the time of my death, how will I be able to remember the Supreme Lord? This healthy fear has to be there. Or what if I don't do this service? I will miss out the train to the spiritual world, or I will miss out on pleasing to Krishna. This fear has to be there. And when you have this particular fear, then you will see how you will, excel in Krishna consciousness. Or you should have this fear. Hey, I have taken some vows, and if I don't, fulfill those vows, what will happen to me? That little fear also somebody should have. That healthy fear should have. That, okay, have I completed my reading, chanting, and hearing in the morning itself? And then the whole day is free for me. The whole day is expanding. See, in the morning when we do our sadhana properly, the reading, hearing, and chanting, time expands for us. Then we have a lot of time for preaching also and doing our daily duties also, for our job also. And then you won't come across those people who are going to, just barge into a fight or a verbal argument as such. And that is why if you keep that morning program intact, there is a shield prepared around you so that unwanted people will not come only close to you. There'll be no arguments and you see your life very peaceful. And when you will be peaceful, you will be more productive also. That yes, I want to be more productive for myself also, for others also, and my journey back to Godhead to please the Supreme Lord over there. That also will be very much peaceful, and it will be you'll have a smooth transition also. So with this, I'll just halt my speech over here. If anybody has any doubts, queries, questions, you are most free to ask me.
Hari. Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful session. Very realistic approach to all the problems, all the fears which we have. I think all of us have those 9 fears, if not all, then some of that. And you have given a very nice, realistic approach that how to, subdue those fears. So thank you. Yeah, that's what I was expecting, that there will be many questions. So Padma Mataji, you can start.
Hare Krishna Mataji, the not question, I just want can you please give me the sloka reference of the bhaya, fear? You
Yeah,
said 9 fears.
11.2.37.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Pranams.
You can
Meenakshi
see
Mataji.
the purport. It's a very beautiful purport. And from the purport only, I've removed these points actually.
Yes, Mataji, I just want to read it, go through it and read. Thank you.
Pranams Mataji, thank you so much for this enlightening session. Actually, as the Acharyas say, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is really very enlightening, especially this was very productive for me because I had too many questions in my mind today. And very surprisingly, most of them have got the answers. Mataji, I just wanted to know this acronym which you said, that in relation to what was the association there, Mataji? I didn't get that clearly. In the sense, the change, association, streamline, service, engage, target, peace, reasonable, expectation, start, forward.
These are, practical ways to, see, when I said that, we have this real disease of fear in our life. Okay. So then I gave the medicine. The medicine was chanting the holy names of the Lord, or hearing Bhagavatam, or meditation, or serving the devotees. But how to follow these, then I gave some practical solutions also, that maybe we can change ourselves or associate or, serve or engage our mind in Krishna consciousness. So these are some practical applications where you will help to keep you focused from, towards your goal and not be distracted as such. And then when you're not distracted, then you don't have fear also. The moment we are distracted, then we have fear. But if we have our goal fixed, then we'll never be distracted, and when we'll not be distracted, then we'll not have fear also. That will not achieve.
Yes, Mataji. I again want to thank you immensely, because from the sloka where it is about the fear of the demigods and the various other planets and the gods, you brought it down to fear for us and really gave very practical applications, Mataji. This is completely new and very, very helpful. Thank you so much. Pranams.
Happy to be of any service to everybody.
Suma Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, first of all, I want to thank you, Mataji, from the bottom of my heart, because the class was so helpful, Mataji, especially at the end, Mataji, when you said that those healthy fears really drive us towards Krishna consciousness. When we really are serious, only those fears will help us do our sadhana better. In today's class, what you said, Mataji, myself being very poor in time management, Mataji, I face a lot of problems, wherein I sometimes find it very difficult to do my sadhana also sometimes. So it is a very challenging situation for me. So when you said that you too have, not that you managed to keep the timer and according to that you used to work, Mataji. Can you throw some more light on that, Mataji, on that aspect? Like how do you do that?
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, keeping a timer.
Sometimes, when we are doing some service even at home also now, we go into some very, especially with women, okay, we go into some different mode only. Like, for example, cooking also, we go into some very different mode, and, being perfectionist. Like, I have this habit of being a perfectionist. I want everything, in its place and taste and, measurement and, all, I go into that perfectness. Or even if I have to make this pagadi of the Lord, I go into so much of perfectness that previously I remember when I started doing, DT worship, I used to take 2.5 hours also sometimes, because I'll remove things and then I'll keep it back, and I will imagine, then I will keep on doing R&D on the head of the Lord. No, not this, not that, remove this, remove that. And I went into too much of, in-depth, thinking that, no, the Lord should look very beautiful. But his beauty is not dependent on my decorations on his head, actually. His beauty is dependent on how am I seeing him and how am I appreciating him as such. And in that, us chakkar mein, maybe in that what was happening, other services were getting hampered. Other household duties were getting hampered. Like, for example, if I have a deadline, I have to go to the doctor's appointment, I miss my doctor's appointment. So we have to be very practical enough that, you know, whatever, time it should take only this much time for me. And we might take, just short-term goals. Maybe 1 month ka goal le lo. Then it will not overwhelm me also. That if I want to learn this particular thing in 1 month, or if I want to learn this, or if I want to do this, or let's write it down. I have this habit of writing it down. I keep on writing it down, not a to-do list, but a journaling thing that, okay, this is what, I would like to do in my life, or I would like to do tomorrow, or I would like to do in the next week or the next month or over a period of time. When you write it, it starts manifesting, like His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu says. I'm sure you all must be hearing his classes. And he says that journaling is such a magical thing that when you write it down, it automatically starts manifesting, be it chanting, be it reading, be it book distribution, be it DT worship, be it even going to the temple. Even if you write tomorrow, I want to go to the temple, it will immediately start manifesting as such. Of course, if you are staying too much away from the temple, 2.5 hours or 3 hours, that would not be really realistic. But certain things really manifest very wonderfully. And when because actually this is the power of this material nature, that you write down something into your subconscious mind, then it starts manifesting. But till the time you don't write it down, till the time you don't put it in on pen and paper and into your subconscious mind, it will never be executed as such. So maybe we can start journaling, or it's like in the school that actually we have in Pune is the Bhaktivedanta Model School. So in their calendars they have that what did I like the most today and what did not like the most today. Two things the children have to write before they leave home, the last period. So whatever they like they will write, and whatever they didn't like, then the teachers will read that. Sometimes there are some comments on the teachers also, or some comments on their own parents also. Then they take to heed that, okay, this child did not like my this behavior. Or the class teacher, she sees that this child has given comment of some other child also. It's a good feedback for that other child also. So when we start journaling, then when we know that where am I lacking behind? I have my own barometer. That okay, these are the tasks I wanted to do in a day, and tick, 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 these I have done, which I have not, the other two, maybe you must have had 8, you must have completed only 6, 2 you were not able to complete, but still you can say, okay, 2 next day. That's how you can give yourself realistic goals and realistic timers and realistic expectations from your own self only. ऐसा नहीं है कि we are into Grihastha ashram and you give a non-realistic goal. Every day I will chant 64 rounds, which takes almost like 8 hours. So then, we can give some realistic goal. But what Prabhupada said, 16 rounds, yes. Above that, it's a bonus. And Prabhupada also says that actual chanting starts from the 17th round. Your actual taste for Krishna consciousness or Krishna or the holy name will start only from the 17th round itself. So maybe we can give some realistic expectations and small goals to ourselves. So for example, I'm not able to chant 16 rounds. At least I'm able to chant 8 rounds. Let me start with it. Slowly and steadily, you can increase 2 on every Ekadashi. Ekadashi, whatever activity you start doing, it will remain permanent. You will never leave doing it. That is why we recommend that on an Ekadashi or the special days like Janmashtami, Ram Navami, and festival days, you can start chanting extra rounds other than 16 rounds, or somebody is just started chanting 4 rounds or 6 rounds or 8 rounds. He can increase on all these days. Okay, Soma Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pranams to Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So we'll end the session here. Thank you again. Thank you once again, Mataji. Hari Bol. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Jai
अनंत
Srila
कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। भागवतम की जय।
Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू माता जी। हरे कृष्णा।
Thank you,
प्रणाम।
Mataji.
Thank you
Very
so much,
nice
Mataji.
class.
Nice
All
class,
glory.
Mataji.
Shall I
Thank
end
you
the
so
session,
much.
Mataji?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shall I end the session, Mataji?
Yes, sure.
Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Hari Bol.